Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be reviewing a new palette from Pat McGrath. This is the Mothership 2 palette. There are 3 palettes in total, but I just got the one because the green and the gold in this palette were just absolutely screaming to me. Now, if you've already heard everything you want to hear about this palette and you just want to see this eye look, this is when the tutorial starts. All right, before I show you guys the palette, I'm going to read a few things off the Sephora website. So the full name is from Pat McGrath Labs. It's the Mothership 2 eyeshadow palette and it's Sublime. This launched first on the Pat McGrath website and then yesterday on Sephora. As of right now, the Pat McGrath website is sold out of this palette. I guess this was the most popular one, but it's still available on Sephora right now. So it's $125 and you're getting 10 shades. On the site it says, this curated collection of richly pigmented velvety hues features vivid jewel tones, classic neutrals, and a high pigment fashion shades to glide on smoothly to highlight, line, and define your eyes for unlimited looks. The hybrid cream infused powder formulations release infinitely smooth and extremely blendable pigments for seamless color transitions with unprecedented buildability. The perfect balance of gorgeous finishes and intense shades structure, design, and define the eyes with crystalline pearl flashes and thrilling color effects. Beam beyond the spectrum and paint with light to accentuate and highlight the natural beauty of the face. 10 richly pigmented hues include fiery coppers, poetic pinks, polymorphic jewels, brilliant bronze, and iconic matte neutrals. With that being said, there are only 2 mattes in this palette. And again, I reiterate, this palette is $125. Now, if you had gotten all 3 on the Pat McGrath website, it was $300, which made it $100 per palette, which is definitely, I kind of wish I had done that, but it's a little late now. But this is what the Sublime palette comes in. Like, how gorgeous is this? This is just the box. And then it has like a little, it's so hard to do with one hand. It has a little string right here so you can wrap it around. Definitely not throwing this away because I think this is absolutely gorgeous. Inside, your palette is in there. I took it out. And then you've got all these shade names. And again, just more graphics. Like this package, this box is so freaking gorgeous. Here is the actual palette. We have like the Egyptian little things up here. It says PM, obviously Pat McGrath, and then L for Labs. And then it's got like the I and something else. And on the back, it's a little bit more of like that mirrored finish, and it just says Pat McGrath Labs. That's a tongue twister for me, apparently. Mothership, used with caution, a shade throwing and eye ecstasy may result with prolonged use. How cute is that? This palette is heavy. Let me just go ahead and tell you that. This is the inside. So you've got 4 of what I call like the special shades, which are down here on this end. Those are my absolute favorites. You're gonna use those wet or dry. I use them wet on my eyes and they just give the most beautiful payoff, unlike anything. It's kind of like Natasha Denona on crack. That's kind of how I think about them. They are absolutely gorgeous. And then down here, we have some that have a little bit more of like a sheen to them and then 2 mattes. I'm going to go ahead and run through these swatches for you guys. The first row we have Skin Show Glow, Copper Toned, Iconic, Bronze 005, and VR Nectar. Those last 2, I swatched them wet because I wanted you guys to see the intensity of them. And then for the second row, we have Extreme Black, Dark, Rose Dusk, Brits Emerald, Astral Ghost Orchid. And again, the last 2 shades I swatched wet. You can use them dry. I show you in my crease how I applied it dry. You just don't get that like super sparkly jewel, like amazing gorgeousness without them being wet. The palette even has like a beveled mirror. Like, oh my God, it's so pretty. So for me, these 4 up here are just absolutely to die for. Down here, these shades, like the 2 mattes, they're formulated amazing. All of them have an amazing formula, but I feel like for $125, I wish that I had a full palette of this formula up here because they are unlike anything else. They are special. I don't have anything else like them in my collection. I wish the whole palette was that way because all of her palettes have, I think, 4 of those special shades, and I wish she just put them all into one and it would have been done. I feel like this is a palette that is for collectors. When I first saw it, I was like, oh my god, but then I did an eye look using just this palette, and I found myself kind of wanting at least a transition shade. There's really not a matte transition shade because the only matte shades are the dark brown and the black. So I went ahead with this look and I used some Makeup Geek shadows. I don't know why we all stopped using Makeup Geek. I never see anybody use them anymore, and I was like, you know what? Let me pull those out. So I used those for my transition. I wish there was one more matte shade, like maybe this like purpley or like that pinky, I don't even know what to call that color. One of those 2 shades being matte would have been perfect. I think that's what this palette is lacking. This is a palette I do feel like you're going to use with other shadows. I don't think the majority of people are going to want to use these and just use this palette in of itself. You can. If you do, I wouldn't suggest using too many because I did that the first time I used it and I just it just looked like someone had threw up eyeshadow all over my eyes, but I got too excited about it. The last video I was wearing this and that was all this palette, other than like I think I did my inner corner with my highlight or something, but it does look good. I just feel like for me, I'm going to use these shades in conjunction with another palette. That's just how it's gonna go. Now I can hear you guys screaming through the screen right now. Is it worth it though? I think it is worth it. For me, in my collection, I don't have anything like those 4 shades. The other shades, still amazing quality. I cannot reiterate that enough. The mattes and those like satiny finish ones, they are great quality and the colors are beautiful, but I do wish that it was all just those special formulated shadows, but I keep repeating myself with that. But I do think this palette is worth it, but you do have to know going in that this is a pairing kind of palette. But anywho, let's go ahead and jump into this eye look. I'm starting off with Makeup Geek Peach Smoothie and a Tom Ford number 13. I'm just gonna build this up in my crease. Same shade in a Nars contour, and I'm gonna buff that underneath my lower lash line. Wayne Goss number 17 and Tiki Hut, and I'm going to concentrate this a little bit more in the crease, and I'm still going to bring it up because I want to be able to see it outside of the green that I put on my eyes later. Same color, and again in with the Nars contour, and I'm putting this up against the lower lash line. Same brush, but now I'm taking the green shade from the Mothership 2 palette, and I'm going to deepen the crease with this, and then I'm also going to bring it up. For my eye shape, if I don't bring this up, it just looks like I have a tiny little itty bitty eye. Now I'm using that same shade and I'm going to use it wet. I used MAC Fix Plus, and I'm using a Chanel eyeshadow brush, and that's literally what it's called. I'm just tapping this on the outer corner. You can see the difference in the tone when you use it wet. And also this inner corner. I'm going to go ahead and drag the excess through the crease. I am leaving a little spot on purpose. MAC 219, I'm going to take that shade again wet. Outer and inner part of my lower lash line. MAC 242, and I'm going to put Bronze 005 wet on that inner little spot that I left blank, and then blending it out. Same color on that lower part that I left empty. This is a MAC 219. I'm going to go back in with Tiki Hut right around the edges of this, just to smoke it out just a little bit more. MAC 283 and VR Nectar. I used it wet, of course, and I'm popping this on the inner corner. I'm going to have to take my time with this with my left hand. And then I'm going to add some black liner and mascara, and I'll be done. Alright you guys, that is the finished look. I added on my mascara and then I also used Via Veneto from Nars in my inner rim. And then also Corrupt from Makeup Geek right at the lash line to kind of blend it. And then I used Tom Ford's Eye Defining Pen right at my lash line up top. And on my lips, I have Tom Ford's Sable Smoke. Ugh, this shade will never get old. But let me know, you guys, down below, did you pick up this palette? Are you going to pick up this palette? Are you going to pick up any of the three? And let me know what you think of them. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys!